All right, man, Torture Talk. Like, share, subscribe to the page. Welcome to the 12 o'clock show. So today, I'm going to be talking about Drake. Is Drake Tupac? I mean, I seen that online. I seen a couple of people talking about it. And yeah, man. I want to talk about that. You know what I mean? I think this is a really good topic to talk about. Because people are comparing him to Tupac, and there's certain reasons why. So before I get into that, I gotta get my spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. All the beautiful ladies, single ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones at. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content, and that is free. So if you want to donate, links will be on the screen. Cash App, PayPal, and is in the description. They call me the hidden gem. I went from 1,300 subscribers to over 9,000. I'm trying to get to 20,000 before the end of the month. I can do it, if not, 1 million before the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? So let me know where you're from, all that good stuff. Just talk amongst each other in the comments, and just don't disrespect each other and all that good stuff. We agree to disagree. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get into that, man. Here we go. So let's go, man. This is coming courtesy of Deleted. Very good channel. Make sure y'all go follow him. Source will be in the description. All right, so let's go. This is the afternoon show, 12 o'clock. Let's go.
To me, it's like when I say I live the thug life, baby, I'm hopeless. One person might hear that and just like the way it sounds, you know what I'm saying? But I'm doing it for the kid that really lives a thug life and feels like it's hopeless. So when I say hopeless, and when I say when I say it like that, it's like I reach him. You understand? And even if when I reach him, it makes it look glorious to the guy that doesn't live that life. I mean, I can't help it. It's a fad, He'll drop the thug life soon enough. But for the person that I was trying to reach, he'll pick it up, and I'll be able to talk to him again.
I have recently seen the popular take of how Drake and Tupac are
It's a good way of looking at it, Pop. Let's go.
the same, and you guys can't be more than wrong. This is completely false.
It is crazy because Tupac and Drake are exactly the same people. So both of them are actors.
Wait,
both of them are.
This is why you gotta love the internet, man. You love the internet. We love the internet. It's the gift that keeps on giving, man. Because you got people like this. Let's look at this guy's face. Let's look at his face. This guy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. I wish I could put a clown nose on him. Like a clown nose. This guy. This guy actually said Drake and Tupac are the same. I gotta hear the reasoning for this, because this is amazing work here. Who raised this guy? I just need to know. Who raised him? Because he obviously been raised by movies or something. Let's go.
Really from the East Coast. I said they're more like each other than Kendrick. It's not sound. I'm saying like who they are. Like they are more like each other.
Wait a minute, but Drake's not from the East Coast though. This is great. I love this. I know everybody in the chat gonna be on fire. I know y'all gonna be on fire, man. Oh my God. Let's go.
And Kendrick, the boy that was standing outside the house looking out the window, seeing everybody get shot in Compton. But I had to stay clear. Yeah, more than him. He just have the West Coast sound, which I don't. If I'm
Wait a minute. So where was Drake? This guy. So wait. So Kendrick grew up in the hood, in Compton, in the hood. And he was the guy outside looking at everybody do things, like, which you really don't know. You're just saying it because that's what you probably read online or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you ever actually listened to Kendrick music, because he actually did say that he did some things, right? But the craziest part is, so what was Drake doing? That's what I need to know. Like, what was Drake doing? This is great. This is gonna be a great
Be
video.
honest with you, Tupac was raised in what, Baltimore? How did he even get that West Coast sound? He just adapted to it. What do Drake do? Adapt. He adapt. How is a boy born and raised in Compton related to a movie star whose really first thing is acting, just like Drake?
Yo, where do they find these people at? This is great. This is great work. Let's go.
What the hell are you talking about, bro? Fans of Tupac, can someone explain the hype behind this dude? Because I just don't get it. Everyone claims this guy's like the greatest rapper of all time and that his music changed everything about the scene, when in reality, his shit is just extremely mid.
He said change everything about the scene. That's when a nigga say on the scene or the scene, totally disregard them. Don't even listen to anything else they say after that. If a nigga use on the scene, yeah, he's not somebody you want to actually associate yourself with when you're talking about hip hop.
I got lucky with a few songs performing decently, and then overnight he just became this like sensation. Everyone that claims that this dude is the GOAT of rap is just blinded by nostalgia. I mean, seriously, how can you call this guy the GOAT of rap when artists like Yeat, Playboy Carti, or Drake are making music 100 times better than this dude ever had? Like, can anyone name?
He capping. He's capping. Come on, bro. Yo, come on, bro. I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm just going to keep on saying I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm all for freedom of speech. But you niggas be pushing it. Y'all be pushing it, man. Oh my God. Let's go.
More than one or two Tupac songs, because I doubt it. Bro, low-key, didn't really do anything for the rap game. I know this is kind of controversial to say, but
what? Again, man, I don't like to bring certain things into it, but certain people should just shut the fuck up. This guy should just shut the fuck up when it comes to hip hop. Just shut up, dog. Just shut up. Because you're just too opinionated on something you probably most likely don't really even know too much about. Just shut the fuck up. Because for some people, it's not about what they say. It's how they make people feel. Tupac was the biggest, or probably the best at emotional rapping. He can touch you off of things he said because he made you feel like you related to the stories that he been through and certain things. You know what I'm saying? He embodied that emo rap. You know what I'm saying? He was the one that made it really big. And for you to sit here and say that you don't understand because you're not from that cloth. That's the thing. See, people like this, I wish I could talk to and say, you know why you don't like me? Or you know why? Because you don't understand. You wasn't raised like that. You're not from that cloth. That's the problem with niggas like him who just spew shit. And people who follow him, they think they know, but then they could never understand it. They could never understand it because they wasn't raised in that situation. You know what I'm saying?
am I wrong?
Yes, absolutely.
Bro, what the fuck is you even talking about, bro?
How dare this generation try to discredit and dismantle Tupac's legacy? Everything Pac represented and preached is total opposite of who Drake is and what Drake stands for.
In my music, and in a lot of this music, it's only talking about the oppressed rising up against the oppressor. That's all. That's what my music's about. The oppressed rising up against the oppressor. So if only people that's scared are the oppressors. The only people who could have any harm coming to them are those who oppress. Simple as that.
From his fight for black people to be acknowledged.
I never wanted to be no star. This ain't my job. I don't care if everybody don't cheer for me. You know what I'm saying? If you're not cheering for me for what I'm doing, don't cheer for me. Don't cheer because you think I'm cute. You know what I'm saying? Screw that. Cheer for me for what I'm doing, for what I stand for. And when I go to jail, you should cheer louder. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm standing up for what I do. I'm not robbing nobody, not stealing from nobody. I never took nothing. Everything I do to represent my people. I do because I think this is what they want me to do.
To his fight with poverty and to...
Look, you got to understand. Tupac was a rebel with a cause. A lot of people say he was a rebel without a cause, but he's a rebel with a cause. He stood up for things that most rappers would never talk about, never do in public. You know what I'm saying? He put his life on the line for certain things. And a lot of people would never understand that. Never. You know what I'm saying?
In Black Hunger.
If I know that in this hotel room they have food every day, and I'm knocking on the door every day to eat, and they open the door, let me see the party, let me see like them throwing salami all over just like throwing food around. But they're telling me there's no food in here. You know what I'm saying? Every day. I'm standing outside trying to sing my way in. You know what I'm saying? We are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in. After about a week, that song is going to change to we hungry, we need some food. After 2-3 weeks, it's like, give me all the food, breaking out the door. And after a year, you just like, you know what I'm saying? I'm picking the lock, coming through the door, blasting, you know what I'm saying? It's like you hungry, you reached your level, you don't want any more. We asked 10 years ago. We was asking with the Panthers. We was asking with them, with civil rights movement. We was asking, now those people that were asking, they're all dead and in jail. So now what do you think we're going to do? Ask?
His battle against white corp.
That right there, it went over so many people's head. So let me see if I can break it down. So basically he's saying that from the beginning, we were being nice about it. You know what I'm saying? And we just kept dealing with it and dealing with it and dealing with it. And then years later, we started to, not be so nice, but we were still nice, but we was trying to compromise and make it better. Years later, now we're starting to get fed up, and we still trying to work with, still trying to do semi-compromising with it. Now it's to the point where we're totally fed up. But we can still, be persuaded to come down off the ledge. Now we jumped off the ledge. That's basically what he's saying. It's no more compromising. Now we coming through the door. Now we taking. That's what he's saying. So a lot of people don't understand that. Black people time, we're fed up. We're done with compromising with people. It's time for us to make moves. It's time for us to show improve. It's time for us to kick down doors and make sure things go our way now. And that does not mean that people have to be violent. You know what I'm saying? That's what people getting to misconstrue. He might have used those words, but that's all subliminal. That's all metaphors for us saying, you know what, we don't need your help anymore. We're going to do it the way we want to do it now. That's what he's saying.
Operations and police brutality.
The cops beating on you. You have a choice. Violence to defend yourself, you know what I'm saying? Turn the other cheek or wait for the news cameras to come and talk about it. It's happened to me. The police beat me up in the middle of the street for no reason, just simply because I cursed at them. Because they were harassing me and I cursed at them. Now they beat me up. Now, in reality, I couldn't shoot them like in my rhymes. I would say, you know what I'm saying, pow, pow, you know what I'm saying? It was a shootout, but I couldn't do that in reality. But in my rhymes, it vents that anger because I can, fire back at the police and won't go to jail for life.
Calling out his rich black peers that...
See, that makes sense. That's just exactly what I just said. You know what I'm saying? He's not really literally doing it. He's saying, metaphorically, I can express myself and they can't do nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it going.
Don't help or acknowledge the truth about the struggle in the black communities.
All the society is doing is leeching off the ghetto. They use the ghetto for their pain, for their sorrow, for their culture, for their music, for their happiness, for their movies.
Most of you know Pac only because of the East Coast, West Coast war, and it shows. That specific time period of Tupac was short-lived. That's the very end of his career and his life. The war that changed Pac. It started off with him nearly dead in a studio elevator in New York, which ultimately made him break bad. The hit was allegedly by the same people who he felt set up the grate of a woman that got him arrested, and what would end up falsely convicting him to serve time. Then eventually lead up to the main reason he isn't here today. Y'all forget Tupac died at only 25 years of age. The final 2 years.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. You would think that Tupac was older than 25. He was only 25, but he had the maturity of a 45-year-old. If you seen him and talked to him or looked at him or looked at his videos, you would not think he was 25. Those videos right there does not remind you of a 25-year-old. Not at all.
Years of Pac's life, he lived reckless because he felt betrayed. He didn't trust anybody, and he wanted to smoke with whoever, whenever, after he was shot in Quad Studio.
Fuck Mobb Deep, fuck Biggie, fuck Bad Boy as a staff, record label, and as a motherfucking crew.
With Suge and the Bloods backing him, he indulged into the lifestyle that ended up taking his very life. But Pac wasn't always like this. His fight wasn't his own people, not till his people turned against him. Tupac and Drake are total opposites. Tupac represents the underdog, a black man coming from poverty, the voice for the people of welfare and crime.
We are living in a war zone. It's not as easy as these people are making us think, that they just got some criminal-ass black kids with guns. It is not like that. We live in hell. We live in the gutter. We got us stacked up 80 deep in one building. You know, by the time you get out your house, you strapped to protect yourself, because you living in the same community that the police is carrying rifles and riot gear. The same reasons they need the riot hat, the riot jacket, the flak jacket, the double vest, the 9mm Glocks with extra bullets, the tear gas, the mace, all that. Who do you think the police is using that against? Dog?
While Drake had the silver spoon lifestyle, with the constant identity crisis of being a black man while being raised around a Jewish community. He didn't come from struggle or any violence, and he now represents the popular culture, the corporate giants, and the facade of what black culture is today, with the help of white execs backing his every move. You know, the industry plant type beat. He's now the prime representation of the black community.
You know, if there's anybody I wish I could be a little more like, it would probably be Pac. You know, he just, I think he just drove people with who he was, the way he carried himself, how little he cared. I think he was somebody who genuinely was a free spirit. He did not care, you know, and he just did what he felt. And I wish I could have a little more Pac to my persona. I'm working on it.
When you look at the
Man, I tell you, man, these guys be so fake. They admit it right on camera how fake they are. You really want to take on another man's persona just instead of just being yourself. You know what I'm saying? You could say, listen, I'm myself. You know what I'm saying? If people compare me to him, cool, but I'm me. And I'm always going to be me. But you want to take on another man's persona. I mean, you do be taking people's songs. So, I mean, now you want to take his persona. It's crazy.
white kids with Raiders hats on, it's the white folks getting pimped. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm making their future. I'm writing down their curriculum. Right now, what I write in my album today, when it comes out in 2 months, that's what white kids is doing. What I'm writing in my raps is what the white kids is gonna be saying to their mamas and daddies when they come home. Who is getting pimped?
Now, let's reveal the elephant in the room, shall we? Most of you love Drake and praise Drake because you relate to Drake. We are in a time where minorities, black and brown, have way more opportunities, resources, and they're getting money, or their parents gave them a great life. Even if it's a middle-class life, most of the black and brown communities aren't struggling like they were back in the late 80s and early 90s. Most of you had a life without any type of struggle, any type of stress, and some of you might even had parents who did struggle and probably were well-known street affiliates. But you, not you. You didn't live that lifestyle. Your parents did. You heard the stories and have imposter syndrome thinking you're automatically about that life by association and affiliation. A lot of you see yourself.
That's 100% facts. A lot of people do feel like they are a part of something because they associated with it. No, you're not. You're not a part of anything because you're associated with it. You know what I'm saying? Because you know somebody, or because somebody up the street is your boy and your boy grew up like that. Nah, you're not a thug. You never been a thug. You don't know anything about thugonomics. You didn't go to Hard Knock Life school. You don't know nothing about it.
When looking at Drake, the man in your mirror, a pretender, a wannabe, let's face it, you relate to his music. So because of this, you come up with so many excuses of why it's okay for Drake to put this act on and why he's the greatest rapper of all time, because dissing him would be dissing yourself. When Tupac was alive and rapping, this was a time when black and brown minorities had it hard, and I mean extremely hard. It was rare to see us win. We were only 20-something years after the civil rights movement. They were gatekeeping jobs, introducing crack cocaine to the streets to start the endless cycle of warfare so they could put us back in chains. It was literally a business to keep prison filled for free labor, stripping the black fathers away from families so the mothers were left raising fatherless sons. So without fathers, it turns into a repeated cycle. This is when black men actually did the crime only to support their families, not to look and be cool, but because they had no other option. White corporations weren't hiring, they discriminated us. We didn't have the resources, didn't have YouTube, TikTok, Google, no easy access to get the information. The world was still ran by the very people who thought little of us and were still angry because we recently received our rights.
That's facts. He's speaking facts. They were.
For the few minorities that were successful, this left the white corporations and the white people very angry because we were infiltrating their neighborhoods. This was a very different time. So Tupac's lyrics might not relate to you today because today is a fun time, right? TikTok dancing, getting that money, banging females, you know, the celebration era. For Tupac and his peers and most of the black and brown American citizens, there was nothing to celebrate. We were starving, trying to make it out the hoods, fighting for financial freedom, and that didn't seem realistic unless you were an entertainer or an athlete. And even entertainers were getting lowballed back then. Bad contract deals, no money really made. So the common everyday black citizen who listened to Pac to get through the day and keep their head up high, those people represented the black community. His music helped guide and uplift them. Even if it was hardship, they felt heard through his lyrics. The rose that grew from concrete, that's what Pac represented. And I'm not saying people.
Yes, and that's exactly what I was saying earlier. You don't understand because you've never been through anything. You don't know. Your parents can tell you about it. Maybe they've been through it, but they protected you from that. They made sure that you didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? They put you in a nice home. And a lot of y'all don't even appreciate that. And trusted and believe on After Hours, I got a rant coming up that I'm going to really talk. So y'all be on the lookout for that.
Aren't struggling today. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is the ones that are struggling today aren't Drake gobblers. Believe that. They listen to the underground artists and whoever is making noise in the streets, the underdogs like Tupac.
When did I ever say I was a gangster rapper? You know what I'm saying? I'm a thug. Thug hates you, gave little infants, PCK, everybody. When I'm saying thug, I mean not criminal, someone to beat you over the head. I mean the underdog. If the person that had nothing succeeds, he's a thug. Because he overcame all obstacles. It doesn't have anything to do with the dictionary's version of thug.
This whole analogy about Tupac wanna be gangster or an actor like Drake is just part of the agenda to erase our history and impact of our greats before us. Tupac struggled, dirt poor, an addict mom, starving with no food, holes in his shoes, no lights, sometimes even homeless. After a while, every good kid turns bad. He may have kept it together because of how bright he was. His mom, Afeni, kept him in good schools, hoping he would get the education to have a better life. But eventually, everyone that comes from nothing and still has nothing gets hungry enough to do something about it, even if it is to break bad.
I'm not a threat unless you're a threat to me. You know what I'm saying? So when people say, when you meet Pac, he's different than he is, because when somebody one-on-one, anybody one-on-one, I believe, honestly, that I can talk. I believe that I have the ability to reason, I have logic, I have compassion, I have understanding. If we talk, there's no problems.
Tupac isn't a wannabe. His neighbor.
And I think that this is why a lot of people misunderstood Pac, because at the age of 22, 23, 24, he was speaking on a level of a grown person. You know what I'm saying? And I think that even the people that interview him, they was looking at him like he was speaking another language. Like, look how he's looking at him. You know what I'm saying? The dude's looking at him like, oh yeah, this guy, he's just talking. Like the wino in the hood. Just be talking just to talk.
Were the dope dealers, the pimps, the robbers, the addicts, and he was another young black man in charge of his household but had nothing to give. A lot of you wouldn't understand or know the circumstances that causes anyone to turn from a good apple to a bad seed. Y'all watch too many movies, man, and think it starts from birth or at 7 years old, or hell, maybe even a teenager. And although everyone's story is different and some actually do start young, some can get in the streets around 17, 18, maybe even 20 or 21. You know why? Because they're grown and they realize that nothing's getting better. That fairy tale shit is out the window. They're hungrier, they're starving, and they're out on their own. So they start to take the street life more seriously. They start leaning on their brothers, man. For Tupac, his OGs in the streets of Oakland looked out for him. They seen he was well educated and guided him. They told him not to get into this life, but to focus on his music. He leaned on these guys as father figures and role models.
And you can see the lessons that I miss when you talk to me. You can see where I haven't had a father when you talk to me. You know what I'm saying? You can see where I spent a lot of my time in the streets when you talk to me. Because the words that I say are not words that come from a mother's mouth or a father's mouth. It's words that comes from a pimp's mouth or a prostitute or a hustler or a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? But to me, these were my role models.
To say Tupac was like Drake because he was in...
See what I mean? That's exactly what I was just saying. You don't understand. Let's go.
Performing art school is an ill take, man. Just like any minority going through poverty, we find things to take us away from our nightmares. We live in a dream world of sports, music, hoping we can one day dribble a ball or act on screen. Being a doctor wasn't realistic to us, or a lawyer, or some corporate exec. It's not that we felt we couldn't get the education, even though that would be hard as well to get approved to go to these colleges, but we also felt like they would never hire us, because they weren't hiring us. They failed to hire us. Tupac was born in New York City to parents who were both political activists and Black Panther Party members. Raised by his mother, Afeni Shakur, Tupac and Afeni lived in New York City, moving often between the Bronx and Harlem, and at different times residing in homeless shelters. Are you understanding me? Homeless shelters, man. I mean, do y'all even know what hood is or what coming from the mud is? And you guys want to compare someone who grew up in homeless shelters of the streets of New York City to a silver spoon Canadian white boy? Come on now. And I call him a white boy, not to discredit his blackness. When have you ever heard Drake claim his blackness? You hear him scream his Jew roots before you ever hear him call himself a black man.
That's 100% facts. I never in my life ever heard him on anything scream out his blackness. The closest thing he do to that is disrespecting it by calling us niggas and calling himself a nigga. Outside of that, and he used a hard yard. Outside of that, you niggas be caping for him. You know what I'm saying? I never in my life seen him come out and say that he was a black man. Never. Not one time. Maybe y'all can give me a link to it and I'll probably review it. Let's go.
I also never heard him speak up for black people before when black issues did arise throughout his career. And that's a fact. Go check that. Tupac was an adolescent in New York City. He moved out of New York at 13 years old to another low-class area of Baltimore. Now, a lot of people like to throw out there that Tupac's from New York because he was born in New York and was out there till he was 13 years old. Now, he was a child. He doesn't represent New York because he was a kid when he did live in New York. He didn't become an adult in New York. The brain development of a young man wasn't molded from New York. He was just a child. And some kids that live in the hood and in poverty, they go through a situation where they have problems at the house with their parents as well. However, that's not what it was with Tupac. Him and his mother had a close bond and a close relationship. He was loved by his mom, an activist, a strong, intelligent black activist.
Watching my mother just go through changes and everything, it's like my mother's my partner. She a soldier, you know. She a soldier like I'm a soldier, you know. And I watched the peak the game that she went through. If I would have went the same way my mother went, had not she did her route and showed me where it went wrong with her. That's all I ever wanted to do. Ask my mama. I wanted to go to college. I went to school all the way and was ready to go to college. The only thing that stopped me was money. The time all the kids in my school was writing applications to go to college, I didn't have no lights and no electricity. And that ain't my mama's fault. My mom's was a bomb. You know, world's best mom.
So even though she went through her struggles with drug addiction in the time of the 80s, she still guided her kids the right way. So usually because of the structure at home, it doesn't matter how dirt poor you are. That doesn't mean you're thinking to break bad. You're gonna do right by what your household teaches you. So the first 13 years of him living in New York, he was just a kid. He wasn't getting into the gangs and tapping into the street life. He did what he was told, and he was at home, and he went to school. That's what he did the first 13 years of his life in New York City, while moving from shelter to shelter with his mother and sister.
Detectives say black on black crime.
And I could never understand how anybody would compare Drake to Tupac. It's like these dudes are from two different worlds. Because Tupac was in a movie and Drake was in a movie, or Drake was in a TV series, that automatically that makes them the same because they both rap. Like, come on, man. You can't be more shallow. Like, it's crazy.
On the rise, and they say there is no clear-cut reason why murder is becoming a common sight in minority ethnic areas. According to the latest crime stats, 81.5% of all people killed in the city of Baltimore were black. Some point to the economy or drugs. But now potential victims are becoming afraid to leave their own home.
Feel as though when they don't have jobs and they can't take care of their families, they might as well be in prison. If they're in prison, I heard someone say, being a probation officer, says that if they're in prison, the state or whatever will take care of their families.
The white communities are well protected, more well protected than the black community as far as police protection is concerned.
At 14 years of age, Tupac and his family moved to Baltimore from the Bronx. The family made their home in the North Baltimore neighborhood of Penn Lucy, an area that was known for drugs and gang affiliations. They lived in a small first-floor apartment in a traditional brick row house on Greenmont Ave. In Baltimore, Shakur had the opportunity to share his talent with the community. Afeni moved him to Baltimore in 1984 for a better education. Now, this is where I get annoyed with TikTok, YouTube, and even Instagram. You dummies try to strip Pac's legacy, saying that he was in a performing arts school. Me, as a black man growing up from nothing in the slums myself, in Vallejo, California, we used to try to escape the realness of what we had to face every night we went home, hungry with no lights.
See, most people, what they do is they want to attach you, or, attach you to something that they feel as though that makes you a good boy. You know what I'm saying? So even if Tupac was a gangster, he was a thug, or whatever you want to call him at the time, right? Because he went to a performing arts school, people would say, well, he can't be that much of a gangster because look at the school he went to. That's a really good school. It's like, well, y'all do know that a lot of gangsters and a lot of thugs are extremely intelligent. Some of them are super smart. It used to be a thing. It used to be a saying when they used to say, why are you acting like this? Why are you acting dumb when you were so intelligent? Like you literally just apply yourself. I remember teachers used to say that to me. Just apply yourself. Just apply yourself. And it's like, they don't understand what you're going through sometimes. So let's go.
Sometimes worried about being evicted. So what we did after school, we would either attend sports, which a lot of us couldn't afford. Me personally, my mother at the time couldn't afford to put me into sports. So I went through chess club. Are you understanding me? I went to chess club. At the time, we used to make fun of people like that. Like, oh, you nerd. But you know why I joined chess club? One, I'm glad I did it because it was fun. It was a strategic game. It wasn't what I thought it would be. Yeah, it was probably geeky, but it ended up being very fun and strategic. However, that's not why I joined the chess club. I joined because after every chess club event, we got free pizza. And I knew I was gonna eat. And I knew I was gonna be able to bring slices of pizza home to my sibling. I knew that me doing chess club was going to feed me and my younger sibling. I was only 9 and 10 years old thinking this way, having to pre-plan on how me and my sibling was going to eat for the next few days because my mom worked 2 jobs trying to keep a roof over our head. So to discredit Pac, saying how fake he is, trying to take away from his legacy on what he represented and compare him to Drake because he went to a performing arts school is very disrespectful, and it shows how uneducated a lot of you guys are, and it also reveals how most of you guys aren't really about that life or from that life, because you would know we as black and brown did anything as children and as teenagers to escape the realness that we had to face every day, coming home from school and walking into that door with nothing. Not all of us could play basketball. That costs money. Not all of us could play football. That costs money.
You put some jobs here, maybe we won't have this on the streets of Oakland. That's what it takes. You understand?
And we need to tell the city officials that if they get the jobs out there, then maybe it wouldn't be so much drugs in Oakland.
I came via New York, Baltimore to Oakland.
How you get so much feeling from Oakland, though?
Because that's where I got the game at. You know what I'm saying? Coming out of New York, I always learned about flavor and different shit like that. Not to diss New York, I learned a lot, but I never knew the game. I never learned the game. And when I went to Baltimore, I didn't learn the game. Nobody ever took the time to show me the game. When I got to Oakland, that's when I learned the game. That's when I just... Nah, nigga, the game. It's not in one person. The game is just in. The game is in me. It was in me. Somebody just awoke it. Somebody just woke it up inside me. You know what I'm saying? Like a religion. And I just saw it. And I saw it in Oakland. I saw it living in Oakland. I saw it thriving in Oakland. I just saw everybody being about the game. That's the first time I saw all niggas thinking about one thing. The game. And they all follow one rule, the game, the rules of the game. And that was never in no other city I lived in. So I give all my love to Oakland. If I'm gonna claim somewhere, I'm gonna claim Oakland. Oakland got it. They got the players. They got Too Short. They got E40. They got the Click. They got the Bay Area is moving something. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. It's like they got the whole little revolution of music that's coming out. Niggas that's rapping from their heart. They not taking nobody else's style. They just doing it. So all it take is for a motherfucker to be original. And that's where everybody be biting from. You know what I'm saying? That's what gave me the...
I think that Oakland show gonna be your last stop, nigga. That's the thing, man. Gotta respect Tupac. Gotta respect Kendrick. Kendrick Lamar, man.
Game, I just told you. So everything I do, you could give it to Oakland. Give all my Grammys and shit to Oakland.
Tupac then moved to the streets of Oakland, California by 1988. He was only 17 years old. 17. However, now he's a young, mature man. Stomach still growling, more angry, very intellectual, and knew his worth. He knew there was a fight bigger than him, and he wanted to be the leader of that fight for black poverty, for black recognition. While living in Oakland, that's when he adopted his MC roots and started to be poetic and write his rhymes.
Kept my history a mystery, but now I see the American dream wasn't meant for me. Cause Lady Liberty's a hypocrite, she lied to me. Promised me freedom, education, and equality. She never gave me nothing but slavery. So now look at how dangerous you made.
And he started to get recognition from that in the streets and in the hood, which eventually would lead him to link with Digital Underground, Oakland natives, Shock G.
Digital Underground.
What up, we back in the house with Tupac.
Digital Underground, you know what I'm saying? We did a little song, you know what I'm saying?
And they offered him a chance to go on tour with them, to be a backup dancer. Come on now, they weren't doing Michael Jackson dances on stage. He was over here dry humping dolls and sex toys and doing whatever hood trend of a dance move there was on stage.
For me to get paid, I had to go out there in bikini briefs and hop on top of this dog. I was homeless at the time. That's what I had to do. You have to work from one point to go to another point.
But he was doing that because he was hungry and he was eating. He was making the little bit of money he could by doing this on stage, but hanging with people that had made it, who were on MTV, who were making money and putting money in this young black man's pocket. He was very smart for that and knew to humble himself by...
I can't help but act that shit. That shit's funny though. I'm sorry, I can't help it. That shit funny, man. I ain't laughing because they had to do it for money, but I'm just laughing because the shit just looked funny. Damn.
playing a roadie to an established group, to an established artist like Shock G, and who eventually put him on.
Are you slowly leaving Digital Underground?
Hell nah. Nigga, if you ain't watched, I'm slowly coming up. I thought you knew. Ask somebody. Ask there. Ask somebody. This how it is. I'm the type of motherfucker that gotta have my own. I got to hustle for my own. And any man out there got to feel me. It ain't about milking off the next man. That's a motherfucking hoe. I'm a motherfucking pimp. I'm finna come up on my own. I'm gonna get my own sack. I don't wanna be nobody's worker all my life. I want my own motherfucking kilo. You understand me? So that's what I did. And Shock a hustler, and I'm a hustler, so everybody understand it. Ain't no one man gonna stay in one spot forever. That's a sucker. I'm a hustler. I'm gonna come up. So I took what little bit he gave me and doubled up and doubled up and doubled up, and I've been doubling since. And I'm gonna keep on doubling till these niggas kill me, and that's that.
Man, I even heard people saying Tupac.
That's crazy, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Was an industry plant. How? He is the opposite of what industry plants want. Do you guys listen to his music, or do you guys only listen to his mainstream songs? He was a black activist. They hated him. That's why there was so many speculation and rumors that the government took him out. Like, people didn't want to believe he was taken out by black crime. Because of his controversial interviews and his outrageous and outlandish outbursts, they deemed him as dangerous. He was revolutionizing black minds. He was speaking like a panther, and they don't like panthers. They don't like Huey Newton. They don't like black leadership, especially aggressive black leadership. And that's how they viewed Pac in the world. That's what he wanted them to view him as a black leader. He was a street novelist, a street activist. He wanted better for his people. And that's what the start and the middle of his career was all about. He didn't start that gangster rap until people actually turned on him and shot him in Quiet Studio. And at that point, he was over it. He wanted revenge, and that's when he officially broke bad. Starving all your life, defeated all your life, and hungry, and all you wanted to do was win. All you wanted to do is put money in your people's pockets, in your family's pockets, bring everybody on.
Nothing I ever say is meant to be like a end all, let's go do it right now. Nothing. Everything I ever say, and if any, this is so we can set it clear, anything I ever say as it pertains to my peers and being strapped is only in self-defense. I'm not thugging for me, I'm thugging for my family. I pay all the bills. You know what I'm saying? I feed my whole family. Wrong or right, I do.
For the very people to eventually turn against you would make anybody go mad. So it was only right for him to adapt to a lifestyle that he always knew. People actually think that Tupac is an industry plant because he out of nowhere got a lead role in the movie Juice. You guys just talk out of your ass without getting any of the facts, huh? I just told you.
Shit's crazy how people just come up with shit. So he's an industry plant because he got a lead role in a movie. He's an industry plant because of that. What do you niggas be smoking? That's what I need to understand.
Guys, he went on a world tour with Digital Underground. And you guys also lack the knowledge of Tupac's background does not mean that he's an industry plant. He was on a world tour with one of the biggest groups at the time. Another big group by the name of Naughty by Nature was also on these tours. One of the members by the name of Tretch actually ended up becoming very close friends with Tupac when they met on tour. If you guys don't know who Tretch is, y'all need to go do some studying in hip hop because even Eminem says he looks up to Tretch and his lyrical rhymes.
Speaking of favorite rappers, Tretch, I don't see on a lot of lists either. Yeah. And that shit is infuriating to me because I think that, again, we was talking about like Rakim did something that never been done, then Kane did something, then G-Rap did something that never been done. Well, he did OPP and he did Hip Hop Array. Right. But he was still rhyming his ass off on those songs, right? But he also did something to me, in my opinion, that there was a time period probably between 91 and about 95 where every fucking, damn near every rapper in the game was following him.
Right.
And trying to do what he was doing.
Absolutely.
Dressing like him.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The whole shit moving like him. Getting on fucking songs and smoking everybody.
Man.
And it was like, yo, when I heard Yoke the Joker, my fucking heart sank. My heart sank because I was like, I'm never gonna be this good.
Tupac's friend Tretch was a big star at the time.
Yeah, Tretch was nice, man. A lot of people don't understand. Newark native, you know what I'm saying? He was nice. I think he was overshadowed because when he came out with OPP and he came out with Hip Hop Hooray, they was so totally different from the album, or even Nature album. It was totally different from what the album was. Kind of like Black Moon's first album. When they did Who Got the Props, and then you listen to the album, it was totally different. If you never heard the album, go listen to it. That's a certified classic. The album is crazy. It's kind of scary to be honest with you. Make you feel like you in the hood. Like that's a hood album. But either way, yeah. So that's what happened with Tretch. So I knew Tretch and Pac was real close.
Naughty by Nature had a big movement with that song "You Down with OPP." Tretch had been recommended to the casting agents by Queen Latifah, who would also be cast in the film Juice. So the very next day, Tretch and Tupac strode into the William Morris agency, and they ended up getting an audition, which ended up getting them the role. So do not compare him to that fake, phony Drake who didn't live any of that. He wants to be that so bad, and he puts this persona on, and he code switch, and he hops from territory to territory and literally sits and acts like he's from one area to the other area and adopts all these hood gang mentalities that you guys allow him to do. That wasn't Pac. He didn't want to be that. He became that because he had no choice. That's what he felt. You have to remember this man was brilliant for such a young age. We look at Pac like this colossal human being when he died at 25, when he made his first wrongs in life, and I mean big wrongs, right? He wasn't able to correct it. His mistake led him to death. He was only 25. As a young man like that, he's not gonna have it all figured out, and he had a lot figured out. He was bright, intellectual, especially with the time with limited resources. He knew what he wanted for his people, but he still was young. And just like any young black man who's being set up for a charge that he didn't commit, being robbed and shot at point blank by the very people he once called friends, that's gonna make any black man from the hood go back to the ways that he was originally raised as. So stop the comparison, man. Respect Pac's legacy. Enough with the foolery. I don't want to see the disrespect anymore.
I don't want to be 50 years old at a BET We Shall Overcome Achievement Awards. You know what I'm saying? Not me. You know, I want when they see me, they know that every day when I'm breathing, it's for us to go farther. You know, every time I speak, I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. You know, I don't want them to be like, they know what I'm going to say because it's polite. They know what I'm going to say. And even if I get in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones, but let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change it. I don't know how to change it, but I know if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody going to clean it up.
Yeah, that was pretty good, man. Yeah, man. A lot of us need to start thinking a little bit more deeper than what we, thinking. I think a lot of us do think surface level. We don't think deeper. I think Tupac pushed the boundaries of the black community back then, and he was one of those people who, he had to work for everything that he had. You know what I'm saying? And this is not to discredit anybody else of that time period. I think his impact was much more than just him rapping. You know what I'm saying? I'll be honest with you, I think his impact was much more than rapping, much bigger than rapping. So to compare Drake to him it's just stupid. That's just a stupid comparison. It's like you don't really know what you're comparing. You're just saying that because Tupac was an actor and Drake was an actor. That's it. You're not even, and then but the crazy part is, even in their acting, it wasn't even acting the same way. So even when Drake was an actor, he was a good little boy, and Tupac was a thug in his movies. You know what I'm saying? He was a menace, or whatever you want to call it. He took on a different role. He took on that role, and Drake, he took on his role. So they, even though they acting, okay, of course you can say they two are actors, but there's a lot of people who are actors. You're gonna compare Drake to them. It's like these people have this small, minuscule mind state when it comes to Drake, and everything has to kind of compare or compete with him. It's stupid. It's just dumb shit, and it's so annoying. It's kind of disgusting for you to even compare the two. You comparing Tupac to Drake. Drake has never did anything of any type of activism when it comes to black people. Not one thing. I never seen Drake actually talk or champion or stand up for anything of any type of blackness. Anything. Never seen it. That is, never seen him say or use his resources to help black people. Not one time. So when Kendrick say he's a colonizer, he's absolutely right, because that's exactly what he does. That's what he does. He don't do anything different. That's exactly what he does. He takes advantage of situations, you know what I'm saying, to make him bigger, to make himself bigger. You know what I'm saying? Because people could say, oh, well, he employed this, whatever. He got to surround himself with thugs because he don't want to surround himself with his own people because they're not thugs, and he'll get it. He'll get got. He knows that. But yeah, man, I just had to put that out there. Y'all have yourself a good afternoon. 6 o'clock show coming up. All right, see y'all. Peace, bye.